Hey, yo, what it is and what's good, yo? Welcome back to 280 Plus, the social media podcast where I take the conversations off the timeline and go beyond the posts. I'm your host, Slow Steph, and I'm back here for episode 222 of the platform. 222. Yeah, you heard that right. 222. Shout out to everybody that's still watching. Shout out to all the new viewers. If you are brand new to the channel, I'd like you to hit that subscribe button and hit that like button, right? Hit that bell for notifications so you can stay up to date to what we got going on. If you're a returning guest, I appreciate you. A returning viewer, I appreciate you. Please join the conversation, share the content, right? And let's keep this movement going, though. But this week, man, we got an eventful week. I would say I technically did not take a week off because I kind of recorded like twice in the last like 10 days or so. So I'm gonna say that I did not take a week off this week. But we almost had to wait for the Super Bowl. We almost had to wait for the Super Bowl because there's a lot to talk about with the Super Bowl. So yeah, this week, man, it's a jam-packed episode. We got a lot of things. We're going to talk about the last week and a half, everything that's kind of going down. We're going to talk about the Super Bowl. We're going to talk about, with the Super Bowl, we're going to talk about the halftime show, maybe a little bit about the commercials. I have a dope little video just talking about content creation and like music, right? Where we stand in the world of music and what Jimmy Iovine has to say about streaming platforms, right? So it's kind of a shocking thing. Again, man, we've been talking about how like things kind of come full circle and how things might be going back to the way they were. We'll also kind of accompany that video with something where somebody's talking about just like music superstars and like where we kind of stand in the world of music, right? And then we're gonna talk a little bit about I don't know, just an interesting post. I'm just going to kind of react to this. A man created a comprehensive list of the different types of baby mamas, right? So we're going to see what he's talking about there and see if he kind of hit the money. Some of these like descriptions I've never seen personally, but like I guess he might have hit all of them, but we'll sit there and critique a couple of those. And then we'll end it talking about Gen Z, man, and we talk about a lot how they're just different from the previous generations and some unfortunate things that have come out due to studies, and it's saying that they are. I seen two different things. I seen one that said that they officially are less intelligent than millennials, but then I've seen another thing that said that they are IQ tests show that they are less intelligent than their parents. Now I'm wondering though if those are kind of like intertwined, like if but I'm thinking like how many millennials are parents to Gen Z? Like that's kind of if you're a millennial and you're a parent to Gen Z, like I feel like that means you started early. Like that means you kind of started having kids a little bit early in life because or like you're just a really old, yeah, you're a really old millennial, and then like you had like some really young gen. I don't know. We're gonna see. We're gonna kind of break down those studies and see what we got from that. But we still got a lot of content from some recent episodes to put out. And so you'll be seeing some like a mix of like stuff from last week, but also stuff from this week. Just hitting social media. So if you are keeping up with us on the platforms, that's what we got going on. So yeah, man, it's been a very eventful week and a half, man. So when I think about the last like, 10 days or so, right? We had the Grammys. We had the Grammys, right? And I don't even have a full breakdown of the Grammys, but I will. I am going to shout out in a second. I am going to shout out some of my favorite artists that won some awards. A winner that I'm extremely proud of. You know what I mean? I know it might not matter that much to that artist, but I'm extremely proud of this artist. And you probably have an idea who that artist might be, especially if you have been listening to the content. And then so we had the Grammys. We had two episodes of A Night of the Seven Kingdoms drop, right? We had that early drop last Friday. Shout out to my man Levi, man, and what we do with the Recap and Record podcast. and it was just dope, man. These last couple episodes have been really dope. And just it's just crazy, man. They gave us a Friday because of the Super Bowl. They gave us a drop on Friday, right? So we end up seeing a lot of a night in the Seven Kingdoms in the last couple days, but then now we gotta wait like 10 days to see the next episode, right? And then the Winter Olympics opening ceremony, right? That started, and pretty dope, man. Pretty dope. We'll kind of get into that maybe just a second here, and maybe just talk about a little bit of the opening ceremony and all the fashion that we saw there. But let me go back to the Grammys though. Let me go back to the Grammys. So, man, yo, I ain't gonna lie, man. Like I said, I didn't watch the Grammys. Right. I watched for winners, and it was kind of weird because the Grammys came on, Grammys come on at a like prime time, right? It's a prime time type of show. And that stuff was like streaming, I think, on Paramount Plus because it's aired on CBS and they're affiliated, right? They're one's the parent company of the other. But it was weird that like before I would say the Grammys was actually airing, like we started seeing like a lot of awards get announced, and like it was kind of like just trickling in, and it was talking a lot about Kendrick Lamar like winning all these different awards, and shout out to Kendrick for winning. I don't got no hate for Kendrick, but I do think that like sometimes when we have those albums that kind of carry over from a previous year, and like if there was like no deluxe necessarily that was attached to it, it kind of makes you feel like, dang man, is that deserved? But I guess it is within the pocket because he didn't submit those things, or I guess he couldn't submit those things. No, he did. No, he got. I feel like he got awards for Not Like Us. Like I feel like he got awards for that. So it's almost like a double dip situation, and that is weird with the Grammys. How depending on when you drop and depending on submissions and stuff like that, like sometimes you do have the opportunity to double dip an album, double dip songs. I guess no, Not Like Us was not a tech. Never mind. Let me go back. Let me backtrack that. Not Like Us was not attached to GNX, right? So I guess that's why he won awards for Not Like Us, but then he's winning awards for GNX because then that followed it. So all right, so we'll give him a pass there, but um I thought that the Clips should have won for best rap album. So if I look at who won for best rap album, it was definitely it was Kendrick Lamar for GNX. But yeah, Let God Sort Him Out was a contender. There are some people that feel like Glorious should have won, right? Glorilla's album should have won, and I thought she had some impact. I think it kind of got quiet for Glorilla a little bit. So like her not winning is not like that surprising. Like she was quiet most of 2025 for real, for real, for real. So she kind of because he dropped at the end like the last quarter of 2024, and she was kind of performing that. But I would say like the last like 6 months of 2025, like she's been quiet. And then if you add into this first month and a half of 2026, she's also still been quiet. So I'm not too mad at that. JID is a nice artist, a nice rapper, but like he's not. I don't think he's not winning best album. He's not in the best album conversation to me. For best rap song, yeah, it was TV Off. We'll talk about best melodic rap performance. It was Luther. I mean, some people would probably say like maybe Proud of Me that Friday Meek Mill should have won. I ain't gonna lie, some of these candidates I could see how Kendrick Lamar won. Somebody Loves Me. That's Party Next Door and Drake. I could see that not winning. But best rap performance, Clips did win for best rap performance for Chains and Whips, and I'm surprised they didn't win for So Be It. Like So Be It is the better song. FICO is the better song. And it's kind of interesting that they won for Whips and Chains and Whips. Maybe because Pharrell was on that joint. But even bigger than that for me, because again, I would say that when I looked at the rap categories, it really spoke to the condition of rap right now. You know what I mean, like the state of rap right now, and it's like, all right, man, like 2025. I know there's a lot of rap heads. Like I follow some content and I see things, and they're like, nah, man. 2025 was lit because this artist dropped, and they're saying like these are the rappers that they're talking about that made great music are they're not the tier of rappers. And I'm not talking about ability, I'm talking about just stature in the game. Like they talking about rappers like Smino and Saba and Rock Marciano and people like that. Like and I'm there's no diss to those rappers, whatever, but like that's not the upper echelon of rappers. And those are even artists that probably don't even submit their work to get nominated anyway. So like that's more like anti-Grammy anyways. But like I'm kind of going off of like what we see and what's kind of popular. And and again, I've said this many times before. Like my palette for music has changed a little bit. Like I like to play rap music that like if I have a car full of people, everybody gonna enjoy. You know what I'm saying? Like even if I am by myself for majority of the time that I'm driving and commuting, I still like it's a so like music is kind of social for me nowadays. Like it is a little bit personal and I get introspective, but music for me a lot of times is very social. So um rap is not it's not on that ascending tier and like the top tier guys. We have a top tier guy that just dropped, and maybe we won't talk about that too much. Yeah, I'm not gonna allude to that. But I was talking about J. Cole. J. Cole did drop. We will listen. I've listened to the album maybe like once or twice, and I don't think I listened to the whole album though. I think I kind of restarted it because this is J. Cole's album is kind of like a double disc, so to speak, right? And the name for the intro, for the first intro, and the name for the second intro is like, I mean, it's a number, they're numbers. So it's like it's weird. It's like one is like intro 29 intro, the other one's 39 intro. And I don't even think I was paying attention. So I gotta sit with the J. Cole album. I know a lot of people have been talking heavy about it. I do have my I have my reservations about it just because it's like, yes, you might be a good rapper. You might have, spit some bars, but at the same time, like it's one of those things where it's like, do I believe you? You know what I'm saying? Do I wanna really hear this? And then like there's a track called Poor Thing where bro, he keep rapping the word punk bitch, and I'm thinking like who is he talking to? So like I feel like with the J. Cole album, I'm gonna need to sit with it, but I'm also have to study a little bit because he's rapping and I'm just waiting to hear things. Like I'm like looking and like trying to hear who is he talk. Like I'm wondering who he's talking about. Not the directed audience, but like who is the subject in which he's referring to a lot in a lot of these songs. There's some introspective songs, but that's what I said too. I said to myself like, yo, like if J. Cole gonna drop an album, man, he can't be talking that tough guy stuff, right? He gotta make, a double disc of Love Yours songs. You know what I'm saying? Like role models type of songs. He can't be making, Wet Dream song. Like he can't be making, songs where he's talking about he's the best rapper. Like it just don't sit well with a lot of us, right? So we'll see about that in the next couple weeks. But yeah, man, I'm excited because my favorite artist, Leon Thomas, he won Best R&B Album for months, and I think he went against some decent artists. He went against Giveon, Coco Jones' album, Tiana Taylor's album, and then Ladisi. But yeah, I think Leon Thomas in that album is a well deserved winner, and it just feels good, man, for like an artist that's not like he's about to. I would assume he's gonna go crazy, right? Like, because sometimes in the R&B category, artists win awards, and then it don't necessarily translate to like the biggest success. It's just like, but I think he's on that cusp of like like people want him to feature on their tracks, and so he's gonna be in that mainstream circuit. This man is a multi-talented entertainer, right? So like I feel like Leon Thomas is about to shoot to the moon because he's a singer that can act, right? And so like this guy's gonna get more TV roles than he's ever had. He's gonna get movie roles. He's gonna do some acting in his videos and things like that. Like he's that multifaceted entertainer that can be marketed like in many different avenues. So like I'm excited for that for him. So best R&B album, Leon Thomas with Mutt. And then there was another artist which I've heard a track or two. His name is Duran Bernard. He won for best progressive R&B album. It says these are albums containing greater than 75% playing time of newly recorded progressive vocal tracks derivative of R&B. So yeah, and like who's I would say like that's almost like a neo soul category because Bilal was in there. I don't know Destin Conrad. I know I've heard a couple Destin Conrad songs. I'm not really familiar with. I don't even know what they look like necessarily. Flo, that's the girl group from Britain. Um, but best R&B song was and I think that's a clear winner. Is Folded by Kehlani, well deserved. But it was Leon Thomas actually won another award, and it's for best traditional R&B performance. So it says for new vocal or instrumental traditional R&B recordings, which I don't exactly know what that means. But he won for the song Vibes Don't Lie, which I actually think that's kind of interesting that he won for that song. But then his other song, Yes It Is, was nominated for Best R&B Song, and that lost to Folded. But I think if he would have put up Yes It Is for Best R&B Song or Traditional R&B Performance, I would think that would win too. I think Vibes Don't Lie, that's not even one of my favorite songs for Leon Thomas, but it is very like is I would say in for lack of a better term, it's like a little bit experimental there. It kind of goes all over the place a little bit, a lot of different vocals. But I felt like Leon Thomas could have won for if he would have submitted the song Not Fair or even now these are newer songs, but even on his latest EP, Folks, there's a lot of bangers on there, whatever. So I'm excited, man. I'm excited to see where his career kind of goes. And it's just like I'm not the sole person that I have no actual influence on the albums, but it feels good when your favorite artist uh earns accomplishments for the music that you love. You know what I'm saying? So and it's like, wow, there's a lot of other people that love this music just as much as me, if not more. And he's receiving accolades for that. So like I just think that's dope. I just think that's impressive. It's exciting. And yeah, like I know people feel some type of way about this, but like that's why like I don't necessarily need all my artists that I like to win awards, but like it matters, man, when your favorite artist sells records, when your favorite artist wins awards because that extends the longevity of their careers, right? Like, some of your favorite underground rappers, right? They don't stick around because they don't got nothing to show for their music. You know what I mean? They don't got money and sales to show for it. They don't got the accolades, and then they go away, and then you don't hear from them no more. So winning awards and selling the most records is not the most important thing when it comes to music, but if you expect your favorite artists to be around, they need to be in those conversations. They need to be earning nominations. They need to be, killing the charts, right? Because if not, you might get an album or two and then they kind of go into obscurity. So, but yeah, man, it's dope. It's dope. Um, let's see what we got. What we got? Yeah, so I was excited about that. And then the Winter Olympics, I thought I had a video or a depiction. I don't have it. I think I have it on a different account. But it was the opening ceremony, and so what they do with the opening ceremony is one, there's a big performance, and it was dope, man. So this year's Olympics is in Milan slash Cortina, which is another Italian city, and just the history behind you know, Italy and a place like Milan, and like just the when they're showing the architecture of the buildings and stuff like that, like everything just kind of looks very majestic and beautiful. And the Winter Olympics is like it's not really for like Americans. We do well in some of these events, but like that's not it's not traditional sports for most Americans, right? Like hockey is not a traditional American sport. And all these different sports with ice and like ice skating and things like that. Like these are things that we're good at, but are they, they're not what we call traditional sports, but I'm glad that we do have a solid team. But one of the things, so obviously there's like performances, there's like all this pageantry when it comes to open ceremony. But one of the biggest things is like each team comes out, right? Each country that's represented comes out and like, yo, they did their thing with the fashion. And like there's I might come back to it another time, but they showed like they was basically like who had the best outfits of the opening ceremony. And what it would show is the country, and it would show like the designer. And like, yo, some of these places got some fire designers. Ours was made by Polo, right? Ralph Lauren. And we ours was clean. Ours was clean. There was some opening ceremony, some countries that had like some just flashy hot shit, whatever. But like ours was hot, but it was more it was classy and clean, and it was nice. But like seeing them in their gear, the Ralph Lauren, like that shit is dope, man. That shit is dope. So yeah, shout out to them. Shout out to the Winter Olympics, man. Hopefully, we get the gold in all the categories that we're favored to win, right? But other than that, in terms of like Grammys and stuff like that, I'm not gonna go through all these different songs and albums and things like that because it's not something that I watched. But I am excited and super ecstatic for Leon Thomas for getting those accomplishments. All right, so let's move on, man. Let's get to the Super Bowl, man. Let's get to the. So we're gonna talk about the game. We're gonna talk about the halftime performance, and then we're gonna talk a little bit about commercials. All right, so the game, right? Let's get to the business, the meat and potatoes of it all. So the game. This was a rematch, right? From again, this was the Malcolm Butler interception game. This was the game where Pete Carroll kind of he almost self-sabotaged his, like I would say, like not almost, like this play, his bad pit his bad decision to not run the ball with Marshawn Lynch is kind of what set the Seahawks back, right? They didn't maximize that Legion of Boom window. And the Seahawks has just been kind of like, they've been kind of competitive over the years. They haven't been like super trash, but like nobody expected them to get to the Super Bowl this year. And just with adding somebody like Sam Darnold, like nobody thought like that would be the ticket. Like that would get you to the Super Bowl. And yeah, man, they kind of benefited. I think they probably had like a little bit of an easier schedule, but then we had the Patriots. Patriots had one of the easiest schedules in the league, and they were a hot team. A lot of people were quote unquote glazing them, right? Like that's what the young people say, and they were hyping this team up. And there's a lot of positives that come from this team. And just when it comes to Mike Vrabel, and they got it looks like they have a franchise quarterback in Drake May. But this is not the Super Bowl that a lot of people anticipated, and a lot of people, my thing, I thought the Seahawks would win, but I was rooting for the Patriots to win, but I thought that the Seahawks had enough firepower that they would win even without one of their running backs in the game. So the game itself, it was like I heard a lot of people saying it was boring. They saying the game was boring. The game itself was not bad if you like a defensive matchup, right? Both defenses came ready to play, and we've seen that now in the opening drive. It looked like the Seahawks were just gonna like pass their ball, pass it all the way down to the end zone, and they got held to a field goal. And then it was the Patriots' first drive that made me nervous for the Patriots because Drake May had no time to throw. They were bringing corner blitzes, like so they had no respect for their passing game, right? They were bringing pressure from all over. They were rushing six guys on a lot of plays, and like they almost had no regard for their ability to pass the ball. And it's like one of those things where it's like you can't run the ball. Like they're daring you to pass, and they got so much pressure on Drake May that he was seeing ghosts out there, right? He was seeing ghosts out there. So the Seahawks defense, they really did look different, right? And I think they look different because of the offense that they was going against. The Seahawks have a good defense, but they don't. It's not Legion of Boom. It's not the Broncos defense from several years ago. It's not the Ravens level of defense. Like they just have some. They have some veterans on that defensive line, where they have one of the lowest blitz rates in the NFL. Now they were blitzing on the Super Bowl. They were blitzing quite a bit, but they have like the fifth highest sack rate and QB passer like pass rush rate. Like they have like one of the fifth highest, but they don't blitz a lot, right? So they have one of the lowest blitz rates. So it's like they're getting to the quarterback with four players. And if you know how to do that in a football game, you will win and you can dominate on defense in a lot of football games. If you know how to get there with four, you're winning. You're winning these games. Like no doubt, no doubt. But in terms of what they were able to accomplish in that Super Bowl game, they sacked Drake May six times. He had a total of three turnovers in this game. He had a fumble and then he had two interceptions. One went for a touchdown. One was a pick six. So yeah, that was crazy. And I feel like they scored. Was it a pick six or I felt like they had a defensive touchdown on a fumble recovery. But anyway, but three turnovers nonetheless. Um, in terms of offense, and it's no surprise to me that this was Kenneth Walker won the MVP. It's no surprise to me. He consistently in this game, he was the only player making any type of impact, right? And if you argue against that, you're crazy. He was, and I, because I seen someone say like, "Oh, I'm surprised the kicker didn't get the MVP," and I'm like, no, like, yeah, I mean, he kicked five field goals, and that's good that he made all his field goals, but none of his field goals were more than 41 yards, right? And the reason why they had all that good field position was because of the running of Kenneth Walker. So Kenneth Walker, he took over the game. Like there were several plays where he was getting stuffed in the very like first couple possessions, and then he started turning it up. And you could see like his running style. He was like being extremely patient and then just having this burst to where he can get to the outside on these teams. And so basically he racked up a total of 161 yards total, 135 yards rushing, right? He did not have a touchdown, but it was a well-deserved MVP award because he was the only impactful offensive player on both sides of the ball. The only impactful player. Our offensive player of the year did not have a great game. Sam Darnold did not have a great game, right? He didn't have a flashy game. He didn't have to do a lot, but he didn't have like he wouldn't have deserved to win that award. So yeah, shout out to Kenneth Walker. And he's only 25. It kind of puts him in a precarious situation because I think now they have to consider contract extensions. The price just went up because they just won the Super Bowl, but also um, there's no insurance behind him because it looks like Zach Charbonnet is probably going to miss all the next season. So that's their backup that I think they were trying to groom into in a way to where he can kind of take over for a guy like Kenneth Walker. But we'll see, we'll see. And like Zach Charbonnet, I don't think he was a first round pick, so like he has no option to get like a fifth year option. They would have to kind of just resign him off of the faith and off of the strength. So we'll see what that looks like. In terms of the Patriots, though, Drake May, he was on the receiving end of so much pressure that it impacted potential positive yardage opportunities, right? He was missing receivers left and right. Like there was a couple plays at the end of the game where it was like, bro, all you gotta do is make a throw. Like I know they're pressuring you, but like there was a lot of that's what I'm saying. Like this defense was not it wasn't clamping them. It wasn't clamping the receivers up necessarily. It was just a lot of like missed throws. It looked like Drake May was just not prepared, and it looked like Vrabel had no answers for them. Like, and I'm thinking like, yo, you can't bring an extra lineman in the game. You can't flip off because they kept saying the weak side, the left side of the line is weak. Well, we can't like flip some guys around, shuffle the line a little bit. You couldn't do those things. They couldn't establish the run, right? Like, Stevenson had a couple runs where it was like, okay, okay, but they could not establish the run. And the play calling just seemed weird, but I think it was more so Drake May's decision making. And yeah, man, he had wide open receivers many instances, especially late in the game, where he would miss the throw entirely. Like a lot of underthrows, a lot of overthrows, but he could not get into rhythm. So obviously then now he's being critiqued. And people are looking at him like, yo, he wasn't that good. And the thing is, it's hard to put that kind of pressure on a second year quarterback, but I think we have to I think in the next several weeks leading up into the offseason, people are going to be digging into this Super Bowl and looking like, well, yeah, who did he really beat? His most impressive win probably of the season was beating a Bills team, what I mean, in the division. But other than that, like I've seen people describe him as a stat patter, and he padded his stats against weaker teams. But in the postseason this year, he had like 7 turnovers. He was sacked. They said he was sacked 21 times in the postseason with 7 turnovers. Three of them came in the Super Bowl. You know what I mean? So, like, that type of performance, that type of play is not going to get it done on any level. It's not going to get it done at any level, but it's definitely not going to get it done in the NFL level. And it's just, I feel like this is one of those Super Bowls that a lot of teams are just going to like be shaking their heads thinking like, damn, man, like if we could have just got it done, like this was the Bills' best chance to win a Super Bowl. You know what I'm saying? This would have been like if let's say Burrow doesn't get hurt in the very beginning of the season, this could have been Joe Burrow's best opportunity to win a Super Bowl. This would have been Aaron Rodgers' best opportunity to get his second Super Bowl. Um, yeah, it's crazy, man. It's crazy. Even the Packers, man. I feel like the Packers could have they could have beat the Seahawks. You know what I'm saying? They could have definitely beat the Seahawks. But we got in our own way, man. We had a lot of injuries and like I don't even when I think about the Packers, I just don't think they was ready to play, man. They were, but then they just I mean they blew it. I mean they kind of folded when they needed to make plays the most. But um, disappointing though. Disappointed to see. I just wanted a competitive game. We didn't get our first touchdown in this Super Bowl until the fourth quarter, so it was 12-0, right? Nothing but field goals all the way into the fourth quarter. And it wasn't until and then they scored a touchdown. AJ Barner, the tight end AJ Barner got a touchdown. It's 19-0. Then, Drake made, he kind of made a couple desperation throws and he connected with Mac Hollins for a long touchdown. And then I think Drake May he started pressing and he kept trying to do that. He kept trying to air it out, but like, bro, he was throwing the ball into like coverages where there was 5 men in the area, there was 4 men in the area, 3 men in the area. Like he was always throwing it into coverage. He was not finding those open receivers. He was not making he wasn't making any reads. He wasn't making any checks at the line. He just thought like he could snap the ball and good plays were gonna happen if he made a throw. But that's not the case, man. You gotta scheme and you gotta do things differently. So Patriots, they're gonna be investing a lot of money probably in that offensive line. And then just like everybody else, everybody's gonna be trying to get better. So like there's no guarantee that they get back. Even for the Seahawks had an amazing season, man. Amazing players at the quarterback, running back, and wide receiver positions. They had some really good players on defense. But I don't think, yeah, I don't. They're gonna be the favorites just because they won. But like, I think there's a lot of teams in the NFC that are salivating. Like the Rams, this could have been the Rams' opportunity. for Davante Adams and Matt Stafford to get the Super Bowl. So like there's gonna be a lot of teams, especially in the NFC, I think, that are like the Eagles. The Eagles are gonna try to get back. They want to get back to where they feel like they deserve. The Lions are gonna try to bounce back. The Bears, they're gonna be fighting to see if they're still a contender. That remains to be seen, but we'll see kind of how things go. All right, let's move on to the halftime show. All right. So the halftime show, Benito blessed America, right? God bless America. Benito blessed America, man. So I gotta say, man, I think I got more of a kick out of the fact that people were so mad that he was the performer. I got more out of that than being necessarily excited for Bad Bunny because Bad Bunny. Um, I am not. I don't listen to Bad Bunny though. I don't know. Like none of his songs are recognizable to me. He's been featured on some tracks that like of artists that I like and stuff like that. I think yeah, he was on like a Travis Scott track. He's been on stuff like you know, I can recognize that he's an amazing artist, right? Like something about his music it gets people going and that's why he's the biggest artist. I think too the sound of Latin music has changed a little bit. There is a lot of hip hop influence in Latin music now, but the fact that if you are a Latin artist and like people don't even understand this, like they get to corner a market. Like there's no other genre that corners the market like the Latin market does, right? Because if you're a Spanish speaking person and if you can corner the market, you literally have like you have part of our continent and you have a whole nother continent of listeners that are dedicated to listening to your music. Rock is like international, right? But like you got German rock, you got American rock, but rock don't got that same stature no more, right? Rap, even though yeah, rap is international and like artists do well overseas, right? But it like still it's still rap music and like it's not really palatable to everybody. But like and even like other genres like EDM is a worldwide music and like yeah, you can but like that's a whole different world. But the Latin market, bro, like you could if you are it, you can be a crazy superstar. And that's kind of where we're at with Bad Bunny. And so I got more of a kick out of people being mad about it. And obviously I was gonna watch that. I wasn't gonna be watching no TPUSA Kid Rock performance, especially him talk making, especially if he was rapping or singing the song where he talking about, some people call it statutory, I call it mandatory. Like what, dog? Like hell no, I wasn't listening to that. So I was excited to see it. I would say this is what we gotta realize too, right? So and that's the difference even between like TPUSA. TPUSA looked like they was in some type of indoor venue, and it was a stage show, right? It's a stage show, right? You got an artist on the stage, and maybe I don't even know if like he had guests or if it was just Kid Rock, if that's all it was. And to me, that's kind of sad. Like of all the artists that are available, right? That possibly are available to you to perform y'all pick Kid Rock? Like I don't listen to Kid Rock. You know what I mean? So like last time I did listen to Kid Rock was like in 1998 when Ball with the Ball came out. You know what I'm saying? Like I didn't really keep following his music. He got weird, like and politically, he got real vocal and weird. So it was like, yeah, like even his whole cowboy persona don't make no sense because he's from Detroit. So it's like, what kind of cowboy are you, bro? Like I don't get it, right? So, but like I would think that there has to be co- a, some type of country artist that wants to perform for that. There has to be some type of pop artist that would be willing to perform for that, but maybe not. But they were bragging that they got 5 million views. And they got people like they're listening. People are listening. Well, apparently Bad Bunny had 140 something million views and he broke like a Michael Jackson record. I think Kendrick Lamar broke that record last year. And I think instead of saying that he broke Michael Jackson's record, I think I don't, he might have the record now, right? I forget what Kendrick Lamar's numbers were, but I feel like I seen a stat where they were talking about Kendrick Lamar broke Michael Jackson's record. He definitely, it seemed like based on numbers, he eclipsed Michael Jackson, but like that record was already has already been broken already. So, but yeah, 140 some million viewers. And but what I was gonna say is that like going back to like stage show, right? The Super Bowl is a field show. It's not a performance that is just on a stage like they used to do back in the day. Like it's not just some big old stage in the middle of the stadium. It's a field show. So like it's very theatric, it's very cinematic, and it's for us to see it from home. It's not even for like if you were there at the Super Bowl, you were still watching that thing on the jumbotron because you wouldn't have been able to see everything that was happening like the way we saw it, right? So the Super Bowl halftime show is a true field show, and with crazy props and a lot of dancers and things like that. So this is a field show. So when you look at it, yes, it was very cinematic. It was very thematic. There was a lot of things happening. There was a lot of things that were bigger than the music itself. There was a lot of symbolism. There was a lot of imagery that he tried to depict. And it starts off, he starts off this performance in a sugarcane field, right? And then, you could tell like he was like trying to show like the contributions that Latin Americans have made to our country. He made sure to say God bless America. He made sure to talk about like the inspiration, and he did it all in Spanish. He did it all in Spanish, right? The dancers like the he got the ladies out there, man. Like he had like, and when it comes to like visual and what it looked like, you got to be crazy if you didn't enjoy what you were seeing when you saw that crowd, when you saw that faction of like dancers out there. Like you got to be tripping if you telling me that you didn't enjoy what you were seeing. Like it was, and it was beautiful because you seen like a lot of these women and stuff like that. They of the diaspora, you know what I mean, of all different shades, you know what I mean. Um, it was dope, man. It was dope. Um, yeah, man, the bodega, like he had depicted the bodega. He had the people. It was definitely for the culture. He had the people playing dominoes. He had apparently that keep seeing clips when he got like a shot from this lady named Tonita. There's apparently some type of social club or some type of place in New York City that still exists, and it was the lady. It's her place. Like that still exists today. Um, yeah, I mean, it talked. It was just a lot of imagery, just about the culture. There was some ice imagery, right, about how they kick in your doors, and even like he was inside the house and he broke out the house. Like it was a lot of cool things to look at. He had some dope cameos. He had Ricky Martin out there, right, and so like that's just iconic, right? You see Ricky Martin belting out all this like beautiful like Spanish music. He even had Lady Gaga, which I didn't even. It looked like Lady Gaga. Then like I was kind of confused and thinking like, oh, maybe that wasn't her. And then it was confirmed by everybody, like, oh, Lady Gaga hit that salsa. You know what I mean? So like, yeah, it was a lot of dope things, man. And it was cool to see. The only thing I'd say is that like I since nothing that I heard was very recognizable to me, right? So visually it was amazing. Musically, yeah, it was stuff that you could move to. You know what I mean? It was stuff that you could dance to, but it was nothing recognizable for me. And my thing is though too, it's not even about not knowing the words because everybody kept saying that, like, oh man, I wish we could at least know the words. At least we could at least know the words. And for me, it's not necessarily the fact that it's in Spanish, right? Because I know a little bit of Spanish. I could decipher some words, but like it's hard to understand because my thing more so with the music is the fact that like I'm learning this as well because I don't know what kind of artist Bad Bunny is for real, for real. But he's not a vocalist. He's not a vocalist. Like let's keep it real because it's not about the fact that he wasn't speaking in English because Selena. I got songs on. I got playlist songs. I got songs on playlist with Selena. You know, I got Selena songs on playlist, and like there's she got a catalog. I can go through a lot of her music and listen to it and sing to it, and like even though I don't necessarily know all the words, the fact that it's in Spanish, but like when you are vocalizing and singing Spanish, it's something that people could kind of join in on. And I guess Bad Bunny, like he's a rapper, right? Like if y'all had to describe Bad Bunny to me, is he a rapper? Like and is he spitting bars? Like is he spitting bar? Like is he killing it with the bars, or is it more like a hype thing? Is it more just about energy and vibes? Because we critique artists all the time, like rappers and stuff like that. And there are rappers that are like really lyrical, but then there's rappers that are just more vibe centered, right? And then the fact that I'm learning that he's not really a singer, so like he don't necessarily got a good voice. He just has this like charisma. And like, do we like him because the beats are hot? Like, do people like him because the beats are hot? Does he make the beats? Like, I have a lot of questions almost about Bad Bunny, but like again, musically, it didn't necessarily connect with me, other than the fact that like it was rhythmic and I could move to it. But like I didn't, and like I said, it's not the fact that I didn't know what he was saying. It was nothing I could sing along to. Like it was nothing I could even attempt to sing along to. And it's the fact that I'm just, it's more for me, it's just a lack of familiarity. You know what I mean? I'm not familiar with his music like I am with even somebody like a Enrique Iglesias or Gloria Estefan or Shakira, right? Like even Ricky Martin, like they've made Julio Iglesias, even like they've made Mark Anthony, like they've made music that is Hispanic, but like also is stuff that you could kind of sing to. Even groups like Aventura, like you know what I mean, like those are groups that like they sing and stuff like that. So like you could vocalize even when you don't necessarily know the words. It's something that you could kind of sing along to. And that was the only thing for me that was like it was lacking. But the performance, the field show, the spectacle, A1, and it was bigger than music, and you could tell just with the messaging that was in what he was showing us. It was more than music. All right, so shout out to Bad Bunny, man, for real, for real. um you know People are upset though. This is what people are upset about, is the fact that Chris Brown, he put out a post that said, "It looks like they need me," and a lot of people are taking that as shade. A lot of people are taking that as shade. It's like, yo, this man, it's not. It hasn't even been 24 hours, and you putting that out and making it seem like you saying that the performance was trash without saying it's trash. Like that's what it feels like. But to be fair to Chris Brown, like after Usher performed, it was like, all right, yeah, it's Chris Brown's turn. Like, I mean, they need to get, even probably like around Rihanna's time. Like, all right, it's Chris Brown's turn. You know what I mean? A lot of people feel like he's never gonna get that opportunity because of his, off mic antics and his past. But like when we think about artists, big artists, right? And I'm mostly thinking about like R&B, rap, or even like now Hispanic artists, pop art, black pop artists. Um, yeah, it's people like Chris Brown, it's Lil Wayne, it's Kanye, right? Like those are the people I feel like are up next. You know what I mean? Like if anybody is up next, like if anybody deserves a Super Bowl performance, like who, based on like their career and accolades and stuff like that, if I had to think of anybody, yeah, it's Chris Brown is supposed to be next. You know what I'm saying? Like who else? Who else really, like, cause you gotta have you I guess you don't have to have a crazy, but I feel like you gotta have a catalog. You gotta have a lot of music, that people could sing along to, and like that it's recognizable. But yeah, Chris Brown should be next. I don't think he will, like based off of how upset people are, I don't think he will now, but we'll see, man. And I wonder how long Jay-Z has this contract. Like, how long is he responsible for how long is Rock Nation responsible for being the executive producer of the Super Bowl? Like, are we almost running out of time, or Does he have like several more years left? Who knows? Who knows? But we'll see as the years progress. One last thing. Oh, commercials. I didn't really have nothing about the commercials. There was one real good one I liked. The Goodwill Dunkin'. That had like a lot of like '90s, you know, sitcom stars, but also had Ben Affleck and Matt Damon in it. I don't really have much about commercials. Commercials, it doesn't feel like we're here to watch the commercials anymore. There were older commercials that were still airing, like regular commercials for like pharmaceuticals and stuff like that. There was a lot of crypto and gambling commercials. Somebody pointed out that like they didn't see enough commercials for actual consumer goods, like things that we could actually go out and buy and purchase, or stores that we could buy and and shop at. So yeah, I don't know. The commercials was not really hitting for me, but I guess yeah, this is kind of messy here. But the one thing, right? So we know Cardi B was at the Super Bowl because she was there to support her baby daddy, right? Stephon Diggs. So this is a headline, right, from the Bish Gossip. Bish Gossip. It says Cardi B reportedly left the Super Bowl early after spending $1.2 million on an after party for Stephon Diggs. Like, wow, what a supporter, what a baby mom right there. You know what I'm saying? And we're gonna talk about baby mamas in a little bit. So like, let's stay tuned. And we're gonna maybe we'll see where she kind of fall. What we're gonna see where she falls into this, right? Like we're gonna see where she falls in that. It says, so she spent all that money for after party for Stephon Diggs, an event neither of them attended after she found out Diggs' other baby mother had front row seats with their newborn while repping his jersey number. Wow. And yeah, they show a picture of this lady here. Maybe I'll share the screen real quick because I'm messy too. I'm messy. Let's see. Can I share the screen? Okay, here we go. It's been like this stuff been acting slow, man. You see her? Yep, this is the headline. And I mean, she bad too, though. I ain't gonna like let's not front, but you see little man, Snoop. I think they call him that. I think they call Stephon Diggs that. Um, or maybe that's his son's little nickname. But like, yeah, she bad too. She bad too, but like, yo, she spent one point. Like, is that like that's the part? It's like reportedly, like, how true is that? Did she really spend that much money on on an after party? Oh snap! Where we at? Where we at with it? Let me stop the share. Okay, I didn't want to lose nothing on the screen, but yeah, did she actually spend that much money on the after party? And then like what did she expect? Like, I guess, maybe they had a like I would assume they had some type of conversation, but it still probably didn't sit well with her. When you got multiple baby moms that are like when your kids are all around the same age, like you gotta do a lot of lying and deception and a lot of like flip-flopping. And so like I could see how that just didn't go well for him, and I could see him probably not disclosing all the details that he needed to disclose. But it's kind of crazy. It's kind of crazy. So let's move on. We do got to share the screen again, but let's move on, man. That is insane. That's crazy to me. If that's true, $1.2 million, and then you didn't even go either and probably couldn't go because you was probably arguing. Like it probably created some type of weird argument between you and Cardi. Cardi, what I mean, he kissing her on the field, like it looks like they together. Like, are they together or not? Who knows? Who freaking knows? All right. So let's go. Let me go here to my video that I wanted to show you. All right. So we're gonna switch gears a little bit. All right, and we're gonna talk a little bit about music. So Cardi B, right? We're gonna talk about music, and this is Jimmy Iovine. So he's like the CEO of Interscope, right? Like big dog of Interscope, and we're gonna see what he has to say about streaming. we're gonna see what he has to say about streaming, and because he says that this stuff is about to be obsolete. Now I don't know if I buy that, but we'll see. Let's see here. Yep. Oh yes, share sound. They already got it. They already got it there. Let's optimize. Yep. All right, here we go. It says Jimmy Iovine, and that's an I. Yeah, it's not Levine, but Jimmy Iovine says streaming services are minutes away from being obsolete. Smaller artists can't make a living from streams. All right, so yeah, let's talk about it. So let's see what he got to say. All right, here we go.
Goes to Drake and Kendrick Lamar. What you're hearing about is that the artists are like, they used to be able to earn a living like that. But now, unless you're in that top chunk of heavy streaming, the money is not really meaningful. So that's a problem they have to fix. You know, there's no question about that. But there's a lot wrong with streaming, in my opinion. You know, it's one dimensional. It's an ATM machine. You put your money in, you get your music. They don't do anything for the artist.
Nope.
See, the artists want to communicate with their fans, period. That's what they want. They want to communicate. They want to market themselves. And the streaming services are still saying, we'll put you on our list if you're nice to us or if you like us. That's bullshit. You got to allow them to have your audience and let them breathe, which is what, you know, not for philanthropic reasons, but this is what TikTok does. That's what Instagram does. You could somewhat promote yourself. So the streaming services, to me, are minutes away from being obsolete because it goes to Drake and Kendrick Lamar.
That's interesting, and I actually wish he had more to say on that topic. He doesn't have more to say on that topic, so it's hard to kind of like. I need to find that conversation to see what does he think is the solution, because it's one thing to say that things are obsolete, and it's another thing to say that, oh well, this is what needs to happen next. All right, so kind of along this vein, I had another video that I wanted to show y'all. Right, and we'll critique it a little bit too, but let's see. So this one's about superstars in music, right? Let's hear this.
Why are there no superstars? Think about this. Why are there no superstars in music? I will tell you, because we all digest information by the algorithm. Let me walk you through it. Let me land. When we were young, all labels had to do, not saying it was cheap, but it was a very simple process. Label signs artist. The artist goes, you know what, artist, water bottle, we've signed you. Here's water bottle, we just signed it. We want to make sure that water bottle gets seen by every single white American between 15 and 30. What are we going to do? Spend money to MTV to make sure that we're going to have that placement on the morning and make sure that we're on Total Request live in the afternoon so that people can keep seeing this. Now they're promoting it, but they're dropping bags for ads. They're doing whatever they got to do. They got to pay for it, and they're getting their video into rotation, and then it's getting requested. I used to love that, right? Same exact label. Yo, we got this new artist. We need him in front of every 20 to 35-year-old black person. What do? Hey, BT, let's get this on. Let's get it on morning shows. Let's get this there. Let's get this on 106 in Park. Now, when you understand that and you go, oh, nah, these were the 10 biggest records. No, these were the 10 most marketed, most spent on records in the country. That's all that it was. Who was going to spend more to market to have their song on this countdown? That's all it was. And it's okay. But the labels were making decisions with who mattered and who didn't. That's just the reality. If this reality is proper and it's right, then what we had as a younger person when we saw superstars, we used to go, if they're on TRL, they're lit. If they're on 106 in Park, they're lit. We were kids. We were very, very, very influential, easily influenced, better word. And when they're showing us these people, we would believe whatever we seen was popping. The reality is that once they spend that marketing dollars, you hear it. Then you hear it. Then you hear it again. And you hear it again. And you hear it again. Once you start hearing something over and over. Trend is you're going to start repeating it. If you start repeating it, you're going to want to play it. It's like these sounds on Instagram and TikTok where you hear it and then all of a sudden it's like, yep, she was a fairy. You don't even know if you love the song, but you keep hearing the bite. Now, reality was back then, because we had less outlets to go receive music, we would have to wait for it to come back on. So we would go back to the show to hear the things that are recognizable. Now, in today's day and age, we have cell phones and we have 10 different apps and we have everything in our life on demand. So in 2026, we don't have to follow the formula of what it used to be. Think about this. When Michael Jackson used to drop a video, Punch, why are there no...
That's hard. That's hard. Yeah, man. I think a lot of that stuff is kind of intertwined though, whatever, because Jimmy Iovine is saying that streaming is going obsolete, and he's saying that artists can't make a living off of it. But also, what's happening is that when we're talking about there not being any superstars in music, and it's because labels don't want to spend the money. They don't need to they don't feel like they need to market anymore, because now social media, like, you have to market yourself now, right? Which is like, it's a hard thing to do, right? Because not everybody is some type of like creative director, you know what I mean? Like, you almost have to be your own creative director, and you got to have these ideas. Now, who knows? Who knows? Do they give artists a budget to be, who they want them to be on social media, or is it something for them to just kind of figure out, or like, do they just have a guy? But yeah, like, the music, it just doesn't last as long. That's why these artists are not making money off of streaming. It seemed like it was gonna be like, the ticket, right? And it's just crazy why music streaming is so low on the totem pole when it comes to compensation, right? But like video streaming, like, yeah, like, these artists are way better off dropping their music, even the audio tracks. They're better off dropping that stuff on YouTube than they are on Spotify. But then again, then it's like the problem with YouTube, then it becomes, well, I can't really listen to it the same way, right? I'm gonna be playing it on my car and my phone, right, on my Bluetooth, but then I'm gonna have like a crazy number of ads. So then, like, I'm paying YouTube more, but like, is it really helping the artist? Who knows? But yeah, man, it definitely was different back in the day, and I talk about that a lot, just the nostalgia and like the formula and how we digested music, but like, it felt like artists were really trying. Now, there's a lot of artists that found like the loopholes to get people to listen to their stuff. This guy was talking about like the sounds that get repeated. Like, it's not even full songs that we're hearing on TikTok and things like that. It's these sound bites, and we just hear the sound bite, and we hear the sound bite, and then we eventually be like, oh, what is that? But a lot of times people don't even have no connection to the song. How many times have we heard artists that like kind of blew up off TikTok, and then like they had a show and like nobody knew the words because they only know the first 60 seconds. That's why songs started becoming 90-second songs. And that's why I hate, like, yeah, Brent Fires would drop a banging 90-second song. Like, bro, that's not a song, bro. Like, bro, it was what? It was in 2024, 2025 when Best Time, but like when Best Time was out, bro, that's a banger. And it's 90 seconds. It's less than that. I think it's like 86 seconds long. And it's like, bro, I can't, how am I supposed to listen to this, bro? How am I supposed to jam to this? But we'll see, man. We'll see. But that's the one thing. I gotta find Jimmy Iovine talking about that, because what are his solutions then? Right? Like, what are we going back to CDs and like physical things? Like, you know what I mean? Because now we gotta talk about the car manufacturers. The cars don't manufacture, you know, stock cars that have CD players anymore. So like, what is the physical alternative if we're getting away from streaming? Who knows? Who knows? But all right. Let's see. I think I got one or two more things, and we're gonna wrap this up. Okay. Okay. Yeah, I got one thing I wanted to touch on here. And I don't know. Let's see. All right. So a man creates a viral baby mama list, naming the types of baby mamas that exist in 2026, and we're gonna say, did he nail it? Did he nail it? So, and I'm gonna put this on the screen for y'all in post when I share this out when I start talking about it. But here, the types of baby mamas ranked from good to horrible. So the top one is gonna be the best, and then it gets worse than there. But I ain't gonna lie though, there's one in the middle there that kind of confuses me because I'm thinking like, how is that not horrible? But all right. So the good type of baby mama, the co-parent queen. It says she got a crown on. She's mature, respectful, puts the child first, works with you on schedules, birthdays, school, etc. No drama, no pettiness, just parenting. All right. So yeah, that sounds pretty solid, right? Like, you know, that sounds like a woman that is not worried about you. Like, yeah, I mean, like she kind of got her own thing going on. Um, but yeah, no drama, no pettiness. Like it's about the kid first, right? So we got that. Next one is the long as you help mama, right? Chilling, understanding, doesn't start problems. If you do your part, might send a passive aggressive text once in a blue moon. So yeah, that sounds like that kind of sounds like the co-parenting queen, but that's one of them that like it's don't start problems if you do your part. Like I don't know. That also sounds like they not really demanding you to do your part is it could be the bare minimum. Like that might be the mom that asked for the bare minimum, but why would she send you a passive aggressive text once in a blue moon? Maybe it's because maybe she follows you on social media and she saw something, or maybe she heard something from a friend or some gossip about you out there, and she's just like, "Ugh." Or maybe like she was kind of throwing some hints at you, and like you wasn't taking the hints. Maybe that's what that kind of indicates. I don't know. All right, the ghost mama. Now this seems like the worst one, like just based off of absence alone, but the ghost mama. It says barely around, barely texts, doesn't want involvement. So does that mean okay? It says because I was about to ask a question. It says child might not even know her well. No drama, but no help either. That sounds like the worst one. That should be lower. It might not be the worst, but it like that's an absent parent. That's a deadbeat mom. Like what are they talking about? What are you talking about? Barely around, barely text, don't want no involvement. First, I was going to ask, like, don't want involvement with you or don't want involvement with the kid, but it says child might not even know her well. That's sick, man. I ain't gonna lie, man. I got a lot of half siblings, like, and I mean, no shade, but one of my dad's baby mamas is the ghost mama. It's the ghost mama. No shade, man. No shade. Y'all know who I'm talking about. But all right, the Instagram mama. All right, here we go. What's this say? It says post the baby for likes and sympathy. Ugh. Ugh. Like ugh. Doesn't really communicate unless it's public. That's corny. And might use the kid as a prop or guilt trip. Yeah, that's pretty bad. That's pretty bad. Post the baby for likes and sympathy doesn't really communicate unless it's public. Like so, oh, that's the one. Oh, the Instagram. So that's the one that's like asking you to do things like but via social media, and then like it has us in the like the people that are not involved, like we're just wondering like, yo, why couldn't she just send that text? Like why couldn't she just tell him that? And because it's not only just that she posts that, they're literally having a threaded argument in the comment section on the post, whatever. So yeah, that's pretty toxic. But then yeah, using the kid as a prop, that's it's kind of wicked there. The you ain't doing enough, mama. All right, what's this one? It says, no matter what you do, it ain't enough. Always moving the goalposts, uses phrases like real fathers, and I shouldn't have to ask. I don't know, man. I don't know. I think you know that saying of like, yo, like what like the person that you get right out of people, like the person that you're presented with is kind of what you allow, right? Like that's what that sounds like Howard, like I don't know, man. I feel like there's a lot of men out there that make a lot of excuses about like, yo, she won't let me do this. Because that's what that sound like. That sound like probably the woman is like got her shit together, like, or is she's had to bear the responsibility of everything, and then you be trying to show up for like the fun stuff, you know what I mean? Or I mean you don't have no real connection with your kid other than like leisure and fun and play, but like you ain't really that connected. So like, yeah, that's why she is using phrases like real fathers, and I shouldn't have to ask because yeah, she like it's your kid. It is your kid. Like she shouldn't have to ask. You should already know. Like you should know. You should be asking her. Like, and this is not no sim shit, but like you should be asking her like what is needed, especially if you don't have connection with the kid on a daily basis. But that's what I'm saying. Like you like it's talking about baby mamas, but like I ain't gonna lie, whoever made this list, I want to know, nigga, how much. First off, you listen to all these baby mamas. There's one, two, three, four. There's six different descriptions. Like, do you have six different baby mamas, or are you just that observant? Because again, this is obviously one sided. And I think a lot of times, man, like you can nip a lot of this stuff in the bud if you step up, right? And the only one where it looks like you really doing like you have the brunt of it is the ghost mama, right? So yeah, you ain't doing enough, mama. I think that has to do with like times that you've disappointed that woman in the past, though. So that I think that if we're gonna be fair, we gotta look at it like that. And then the you still mine, mama. All right, now this one, they're saying that this is the worst one. This is like horrible. It says jealous of your new girl, starts fights and uses the kid as bait, might show up unannounced or blow up your phone at 2 a.m. That's yeah, that's pretty toxic, right? So, you know what I mean? I ain't gonna lie, man. Oh my God, I don't expose my personal business on here, man, like too much, too much. I like to share with y'all, but like I've had a little bit of that. I've had a little bit of that, but that's not the worst one though. See, this is the thing. This one is not starts fights doesn't mean physical fights. It just means arguments, whatever. I've never had my kid used as bait though, but I've had the show up unannounced. And I've had that. I've had that. Yeah, yeah, I've had that. The ghost mom, I think the ghost that's the worst mom. That's even though yeah, even though maybe you don't gotta deal with her, that should be the bottom one because like she's not a mom, she's not a mother at all. You know what I mean? So like if you're not a mom, that's the worst kind of mom, a mom that's not a mom. You know what I'm saying? So like yeah, that one. The you still mind mama, that's not the worst. That's not the worst. I think it's Instagram might be the worst. It's well, no. I would rearrange this. All right. So it would go co-parent queen. I guess the long as you help mama. I'm moving this up. You ain't yeah, I'm moving this up. You ain't doing enough goes up here is third. I would say you ain't doing enough is third. I would say you still mine is fourth, but then these two are the worst. This is the fifth worst, right? This should be like second from the bottom, and then this is the bottom. Coast is the bottom. But yeah, these two are right here in the middle are actually the worst. The worst. That's the worst. It's crazy, but I don't know what y'all think, man. I was about to say, this is somebody I know. It says I was about to say agree to being Ghost Mama, but I ain't read it all. They, oh my God, that's crazy. That's crazy. I'm gonna leave it at that though. But what do y'all think, man? Where could these things be ranked? Let me, yeah. I'm gonna just put it on the screen. Yeah, it's just gonna be for the full episode. It'll be on the side here so y'all can see it. But yeah, nah, I'm not rolling with that list. I'm definitely rearranging. It will go because right now it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It should be yeah, it should be one, two, three, four. Oh no, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yep, yep. So yeah, we could yeah, yep. We'll put that is funny. That's funny. All right. Last topic. Last topic. Let's move on, y'all. Let's move on. And then we're gonna wrap this up for good. For tonight, for today. All right, we got two different angles of the same kind of conversation. I think I'll just focus on this one. It says Gen Z officially less intelligent than millennials and first recorded intergenerational IQ drop. Okay. So it says, actually, I'm gonna read both. I'm gonna read both. So this one says, um, Gen Z is officially the first and only generation to be less intelligent than the previous one. Data shows this makes millennials the only generation to be this makes millennials the only generation to be sharper and smarter than the younger ones that followed. Dang. So like they saying like we was not smarter than our parents and stuff like that. And I mean I'm not mad at that, but like I don't know if I'm rolling with that fully. Gen Z becomes the first generation in history to score lower on IQ tests than their parents. Okay. So it says here for the first time in over a century, the next generation is actually trailing behind their parents in the classroom. So this one gets specifically in classrooms. Dr. Jared Cooney Horvath, a neuroscientist with experience at Harvard and the University of Melbourne, is sounding the alarm on a massive decline in student performance. Test results show that people born between 1997 and 2010, widely known as Gen Z, are failing to hit the academic marks reached by previous generations. Horvath recently took these findings to Congress, warning that the intellectual streak humanity has been on since the late 1800s has officially snapped. They're the first generation in modern history to score lower on standardized academic tests than the one before it, Horvath told the Post. And to make matters worse, most of these young people are overconfident about how smart they are. The smarter people think they are, the dumber they actually are, right? Yeah, this is good. It says the breakdown of data shows that this isn't just about one subject. It's about a total collapse across the board from basic memory to literacy and general IQ. The numbers are sliding. Horvath points the finger directly at the ed tech revolution. Ooh. And the constant presence of smartphones and tablets. He argues that scrolling through TikTok and reading bulleted summaries is no substitute for the heavy lifting of real study. They underperformed on basically every cognitive measure from basic attention, memory, literacy, numeracy, executive function, and general IQ, he explained. During his testimony, he highlighted that teenagers spend about half of their waking hours staring at a screen, which bypasses the way the human brain is biologically wired to learn. Humans are biologically programmed to learn from other humans and from deep study, not flipping through screens for bullet point summaries, he noted. This trend isn't just a US problem, it's happening globally. Horvath's research, which includes data from 80 different countries, suggests that the more a school system leans on digital technology, the worse the kids perform. And I ain't gonna lie, I'm not mad at that, man. I think it's one of those things where it's a tool. It's a tool. Technology is a tool. Technology makes things convenient to it makes it easier to create things. It makes it easier to access things, but we have to stop giving all the kids the shortcuts. We have to make them suffer a little bit. Like, and I know that sounds crazy, but yeah, we gotta, they gotta learn. They gotta deep study. They gotta pay attention to things. Um, but yeah, and when people there's it's crazy because there's politically there's factions of people that believe that like the school system is bad, and like some people say like, oh, why would I need my kid to go to school when they could learn when a computer and AI can teach them everything? And it's like, bro, I'm telling you, man, these kids don't be reading. These kids don't be reading. They don't be reading, man. And like it's taken a lot away. And again, everything has adapted to like everything. Because yeah, a lot of times what happens is that like and it's important to meet young people where they're at. Sometimes it's important to do that at times, but like we don't demand them to like rise up. Like we lower the standard. We don't challenge them to rise up and meet us where we at. You know what I'm saying? Meet and maybe let's not make it about us. Just you know what I mean, you need them to rise to the academic rigor that it just is. You know what I mean? Like, yes, you do have to read that full chapter. Yes, and again, like the stuff that kids are doing in school, like it is addressing those skills, but then there's a lot of shortcuts in between, and like the kids know the shortcuts, and they always take They always take the shortcut. Sometimes the shortcut is good, but when you always take the shortcut, you never know what it really is about. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know. That's another time. That's something that we got to dig into deeper on another episode. But I had fun with y'all, man. We talked about a lot today. Everything that had to do with the Super Bowl. We talked about Bad Bunny. We talked about the Grammys. And shout out to my boy Leon Thomas for winning that Best R&B Album Grammy. Man, we talked about Baby Mamas. We talked about, what did we talk about, man? What else we have on here? What else did we have on here? A lot, yeah, we talked straight football. We talked about also too, man, music, man, and where we headed, right? We don't have any solutions quite yet, but like it's a lot more people behind the scenes talking about the problems, and hopefully, man, they're at the forefront of making these changes. But I love rocking with y'all, man, for another week, man. I appreciate anybody that's still watching. If you are and you're not subscribed yet, make sure you subscribe. Make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you hit that bell for notifications. Join the conversation. Leave a comment below. Share the content with anyone that you know is interested in the topics that we discuss. You can catch us on all social media platforms except for TikTok, but you can catch us on all social media platforms. 280 Plus Podcast or 280 Plus Pod on most platforms. And yeah, we on YouTube, we on Twitter or X, we on Facebook, and then yeah, man, Instagram. You know what I'm saying? So shout out to us, shout out to y'all. I mean, go Hawks, man. They won that Super Bowl, they earned that joint. But yeah, man, this is another episode of 280 Plus Podcast. This is episode 222. I'm your host, Lo Steph, and I'm out, y'all.